My name is Donna, and I have been the historian for the garden for a good many years. I started with the garden before the garden was even established here. We were meeting in a restaurant in the south part of town. And then from our meetings there, we went to people's homes to have our meetings for our planning sessions. And we had a lot of planning to do because people were very, very much opposed. Many people were opposed to the idea of a garden here. It was thought that this piece of property, which was now in use, not in use anymore, was now being used for an open space, and they thought that it could be kept to use for children's activities, or maybe even to be have a new grocery store here, or to have some low-income housing. Some of us thought that a green space would be very, very nice. And so, as I said, we met many times and came across with the idea of a public garden. This piece of property had been used for schools for years and years and years and years. There were 4 different schools on this piece of property, and the last school was called Central School, thus the name of the garden, Central Gardens. The one thing that is kind of humorous in a way, a young man, when I was telling him about the fire station across the street, said he knew why they built the new fire station over there, because all the schools on this piece of property burnt down. And that's what had happened to every one of the schools. None of them were completely demolished, they burnt down, and then new schools had to be built. And the last school was still in existence, and it caught fire also. It was used for all of the grades for a while, and then it had been a high school for a while too. And the last years that it was used, the last grades went up through 6th grade, and K through 6. The property here was in a high spot where our moon gate is right now, and this is where the school mainly was. The lower portion where our entrance was where the old junior high was, and that too was another school that burnt down on this piece of property. We have lots of pictures for you to see of different things in the garden. For starting, first thing that had to be done was the land had to be prepared. And the pictures that you're going to see show many of the pieces of equipment that were being used. We were very, very lucky because Charleston Excavating from east of town loaned all of their equipment to one of their workers, Dan Ostrup. And Dan did all of the work that you can see in many of these pictures with the big pieces of equipment. At one time, Kennedy's brought in a load of peat for us, and we had a big hill of peat ground here that we could use because the city had taken some of the soil from here and used it for other places in town. And so we did need more soil, excuse me. We did need more soil here, and this peat was brought in, and we had this big hill of peat, and it had potatoes in it. So some of us were up here getting potatoes out of the hill of peat. And it was nice to be able to get all that lovely black peat in to help make our garden even nicer.